Greetings, my friends. Sit ye down and hear tales of the past, told by the ancient flame. There are many tellings of these stories, but this one's mine. In the ages when naught else was, there yawned a space, a vast empty gulf named Ginnungagap. Immeasurable in all dimensions, no light, no dark, no sound nor silence, no north, south, east nor west. This gulf, Ginnungagap, was the beginning of all things, and it is here where time first dawned. It is unsure exactly the true seeds of creation, how something comes from nothing, but as time passed, it was recognized that there were two distinct realms forming in Ginnungagap. Firstly, Niflheim, a land of cold and dark, of snow and rain, both heavy and light, crisp, clear, but also driving and deadly. On the far side, the land of Muspelheim, of roaring flames, towering volcanoes, but also warmth and of light. Neither realm was of order, nor chaos, nor good, nor bad. They simply are. Even in those early days, things began to change. In the heart of Muspelheim, Surt, the great fire demon, was already forging his great weapon, the fire sword, for it would take all of eternity before that sword could be used to wreak havoc and bring around the end of all things. Its creation at the creation, and the end by its hand. In the mists of Niflheim burst forth a great fountain from whence all waters flow, and which in time all waters return. It was named the Roaring Cauldron, and from it surged at the beginning 12 tremendous rivers called Elivagar that washed southwards through the gulf. For ages uncounted, these two realms lay apart, their powers straining at the gap, but never meeting. Fires raged in place, and ice slept, but Ginnungagap endured in stillness, though the void is not patient forever. Slowly, ever so slowly, the chill rivers of Niflheim crept towards the center, spilling frozen rime into the emptiness. The heat of Muspelheim too grew, fierce and eager, rushing forward like a storm. And when ice and flame at last drew close, when the breath of frost met the roaring blaze, a great wonder happened. The ice began to thaw, dripping and hissing in the warmth. Steam rose, swirling like ghosts in the dark. And from that mingling, the kiss of fire and frost, of deathly cold and all-consuming heat, life stirred. From the mist that rose where fire met frost, a form began to take shape. At first it was little more than a shadow stirring in the steam, but slowly it grew solid, limbs forming from melting rime, flesh from the warmth and chill intertwined. And there at last stood Ymir, the first of the giants, vast as a mountain, raw and wild as the storm. No mother bore him, no father shaped him. He was a child of the chaos and the void itself. His body held the breath of both heat and cold, and in his heart slept only the memory of Ginnungagap's silence. He drank the melting ice for sustenance, and in the dark he dreamed. and the dreams of gods and giants are powerful things. As he slept, his side, facing Muspelheim, began to sweat. It gathered beneath his arms, and from it sprung a man and a woman, the first of his kin, named Mimir and Besla. His feet likewise did the same, but from them a strange, many-headed being burst forth, the first of the race of Jotun, the frost giants, born not of love nor design, but by the restless stirring of life itself. Yet Ymir was not alone. As the ice continued to melt in the warmth of Muspel's breath, another figure emerged from the ice, a gentler one, but no less wondrous. She was the great cow, Adumla, bright and mighty, her hide gleaming with frost, her breath a mist that nourished the air. From her udders flowed 4 streams of milk, white and sweet, enough to feed Ymir and all that came after. Adumla needed sustenance of her own, and in so turned her tongue to the salt-rimed stones, licking them clean as she stood on the edge of Gunungragap and Niflheim. Day after day she licked to keep herself alive. But this did not stay tedious for long. She discovered a single strand of hair in the ice, and with much work the hair became 2, and then a face, and finally the shape of a man. On the 3rd day he stepped forth, whole and shining. This was Buri, the first of the gods, tall and fair, strong of limb and noble of spirit. Time passed in that empty nothingness. For how long, none can say. The frost giants multiplied, rowdy and vast, and their laughter shook the stillness of the new cosmos. But among the gods, born of Buri's line, there stirred a different spirit, a hunger not for noise and strength, but for order, for meaning. From Buri came Bor, who took the wife Besla, daughter of Ymir. They bore 3 sons, Odin, Vili, and Ve. These brothers looked upon Ymir and his brood, and saw the old world, a world of giants and of chaos, and they could not find room for them in the image they desired. And so they conspired, quietly, beneath the cold stars that had only just begun to flicker in the heavens. And when one day it was right, they struck. The brothers set upon Ymir, that vast and ancient being, whilst he slept in his dream of ice. It was no small struggle. The giant roared as they cut him down, and the sound of his death shook the heavens and tore open the stillness of creation. His blood poured out in a flood so great it drowned nearly all of his kin, with only a few giants escaping, carrying off to the rising tides to the far edge of the world. And when Ymir lay dead, Odin and his brothers looked upon his immense body and saw in it the raw materials of the cosmos, for that is where he had come from. And so they began to work. From Ymir's flesh they shaped the earth, the green lands that would one day bear forests and men. His blood they made into the seas, swelling and restless. His bones became mountains, his teeth the stones, and his hair the grasses, the growing things. His skull, vast and round, they lifted high to form the sky, setting it above the world and holding it in place with 4 mighty dwarves. These dwarves they named North, South, East, and West, and they became the keepers of the heavens. From the sparks that leapt out of Muspel's fiery realm, they set the stars in Ymir's skull. and the great blaze of sun and moon to circle above, marking time on their newborn world. And thus, from the corpse of chaos, order began to take root. But even as they shaped the world, the blood of Ymir still seeped through its cracks, whispering the memory of the old wildness, the power of the giants, and the strength of untamed things. That is why, even in the ordered world of gods and men, there is always place for chaos, for the storm, for the mountain that breaks free of its bed. The world you see still remembers its first heartbeat. And so it was that the universe and then the world came into being. But for now, my friends, I grow weary, and so I bid you good night.